What we eat has an enormous impact on how healthy we are now and how likely we are to develop chronic diseases such as heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. What we're going to talk today about is how nutrition relates to health and disease, different causes of malnutrition, and ways in which nutrient intake can affect health in both the short term and the long term, and how our genes, the genes we inherit, affect the impact our diet has on our own health. So what happens when a person gets too little or not enough of a nutrient or energy? We describe that in the science of nutrition as malnutrition. So that can be any condition caused by an excess or deficit in food, energy, or nutrient intake, or by an imbalance of nutrients. And when we talk about nutrients, we're talking about the 6 classes of nutrients that we discussed in the previous module. So a person can be either over or undernourished. Undernutrition, that's typically what we think of. It occurs when intake doesn't match the body's needs. The picture on the right shows the symptoms of starvation. That's the most obvious form of undernutrition, and it can occur gradually over time when the energy provided by the diet is too low to meet the body's needs. So what happens is body tissues are broken down to provide the energy to support vital functions like the heart or the brain, and the results are weight loss in body fat and wasting of muscles. You can see this young child looks very skeletal-like. Overnutrition, that's what we term as an excess intake of calories or nutrients. So the child on the left, even though this child looks normal and healthy, she has low iron stores. So if the iron content of her diet is not increased, she'll eventually develop iron deficiency anemia. Mild nutrient deficiencies like hers may go unnoticed because the symptoms are either not immediately apparent or not non-specific. 2 common non-specific symptoms of iron depletion are fatigue and the decreased ability to fight infection. So what we see with undernutrition is those nutrient deficiencies may be mild enough not to cause any obvious symptoms, or they may be severe enough to cause debilitating illness and death. Overnutrition. So overnutrition is considered the excessive intake of calories or nutrients. Overnutrition, we usually use the term obesity. This is a form of overnutrition. Though there are other forms, and obesity increases the risk of a variety of other nutrition-related chronic diseases that are leading causes of death in the United States. Obesity occurs when energy intake surpasses the energy expenditure over a long period, causing the accumulation of an excessive amount of body fat. Adults are not the only ones who are getting fatter. Almost 17% of U.S. children and adolescents ages 2 to 19 years old are obese. So how does the diet-gene interaction come into play? So diet affects your health, but diet alone does not particularly determine whether you will develop a particular disease. So each of us inherits a unique combination of genes, units of a larger molecule called DNA that are responsible for inherited traits. And some of these genes affect your risk of developing chronic diseases such as heart disease, cancer, high blood pressure, and diabetes. but their impact is affected by what you do. Nutritional genomics, both the genes you inherit and your dietary choices interact and directly affect your health and disease risk. There is an interplay between these such that your genes, through what's called nutrigenetics or nutrigenomics, influence how your diet affects your health and how your genes impact your health. So you can see nutrigenomics and nutrigenetics are the interplay between genes and diet. So your parents might have been obese, had heart disease, had some of these risk factors that you know of right now. You see it in your parents or your grandparents. So what you do now, the diet you consume may prevent or promote these risk factors that you're genetically predisposed to. So nutritional genomics, it's a new term. It's the study of how diet affects our genes and how individual genetic variations can affect the impact of nutrients or other components in our health.